Today we'll be breaking down this device. We're going to weigh up the device. I have it set for pounds because this thing is quite heavy. It's registering as 6.6 pounds, but the power cord is dangling and hanging on the ground, or on the table, on the table. Flipping it over, putting the power cord on top. Looking at it again, it is now registering at 6.8 pounds. It's also hard to believe that only these 4 screws are holding this device together. It's hard to believe that I'm probably going to have to take a chisel to it and try to open it because nothing is coming loose at the moment. This is not a sticker. This is like Braille in a way. It's not embossed, but it's upward, whatever that means. And you can hear it striking. It's not a sticker, so there's no screws that I can get to there. Too small. Excuse the mess while I'm looking for a screwdriver. Got this handy item from Harbor Freight. Has a lot of different size Phillips head screwdrivers, square head screwdrivers, flat head screwdrivers, and a few torque screwdrivers. Well, not wanting to work. I don't want it to take too much more of my time. Something that I forgot to do was take off my real glasses, put on my safety glasses. I only knew that because I had to bend down and look through my real glasses to see if I could see the actual Phillips head screw that I want, Phillips head screw bit head that I wanted. And that's when I realized I still had my real glasses on and not my safety glasses. Believe it or not, I see a whole lot better up close without my real glasses on. All right, that's better. So these 2 screws will come out quickly. And all these screws here are doing is holding the off and on switch to the plastic. As soon as I took those 2 screws out, the off and on switch started disappearing behind the plastic. All right, all the known screws are out, and this item is still in one piece. So now we're getting to the part where I need to find out how to get it apart. Don't necessarily want to break it because I want to be able to understand how it works. So this piece of plastic here, bent down, you lift it up and off it comes. This is just plastic, there's nothing else to it. It will go to the plastic bin. There is a recycling symbol on it, and the number inside is very small. There's also the recycling symbol here and here, and that recycling symbol says ABS. So I'll put that in my recycling. There's the battery. And it should come out. There are 2 pins here. They need to come down so the battery can slide out. And like that, the battery is out. The battery is big. 2 leads, positive and negative. They can be unplugged. One, 2, and now the battery is free. The battery says that it is 12 volt, 36 watt cell. It says do not put it in the trash. It is recyclable. All right, I'll go over there, take another look inside to see what we have. There's really not much left, and it's kind of a dud. There's the gaping hole of where the battery was sitting, and I don't see too much of anything else that really is worth anything, which is kind of a dud. It's also the price you pay at times. Now there are 2 holes where that would hang. There are 2 holes in it. I'm going to probe that just to see if there's screws in it. I don't feel any screws. I'm slightly baffled as to why it's not coming apart since all the other screws have been taken out. And then you do that and it comes apart. And looky there. We have the light board. This is where the lights and the switch is on this board. And we have 2 power boards. That's probably going to be aluminum. There are some copper spools here, so that's good news. IC chip there. Let me get those boards out so we can take a better look at it. I'm going to start with this one here first. And you can hear the screwdriver skipping every time I turn it. So I need to get my other screwdriver out. That screw actually did come out. This has, not sure whether you can see me doing this or not, but there are 2 pieces of plastic on each end, which is holding the board in place. Even though it was screwed in, these 2 pieces of plastic are holding the board in place with items that bend down like this, and the item stays right here. And on the other side, same thing. So they're holding it in place. So we need to bend that back and bend that one back, and off it comes. And at this point, I don't care if I bend and break it because this is all going into the recycling. And these plastics here are very well marked with their recycling numbers. Here is the switch, which most switches have a tiny bit of silver in them and or brass. So I either will be giving that to a person that's going to buy switches, or I'll be taking that apart and looking for either the silver or the brass in it. It is hardwired. The wire is hardwired to the board. So I'm going to take that loose. Had this board been green on both sides, I would have lumped it in with mid-grade board, even though it's very small. But since it has the yellow color on the front side, it's going to be a low-grade board. So I'm cutting the wire off so I can free it. And let's get the rest of these screws out. to believe that board is held in with one screw. That's all I see. All right, I'm going to turn that around. Before I do that, I'm going to take out this wire. It is hardwired further. And this one's also, oh, there it goes. So the wire was also holding down the plastic, the board into the plastic. Again, solid plastic, nothing in it. Getting rid of the plastic. I do see some additional screws on this board. And out comes that board. And again, we look at it, nothing but plastic. It goes into plastic recycling. Now I want to clean up the boards a bit by taking off the wire. So I will start with this red lead wire. The red lead wire and the black lead wire go to different locations, but they're very close. All right, those wires are off. I'm going to take off the hardwired computer strip wire off the back of this. And that one's off. There is a pluggable and unpluggable wire connecting. It's a child wire, I guess you could call it. It's connecting the two boards together. That's off. The one thing I'm disappointed in the most with this board, with this device, is there were no brass strips that you find in a APC backup battery for a computer. There's a plug, I believe. Yep, plugged in. That's where the switch is. So this plug and this switch go together. If I could prove that it works, I could sell it on eBay. I'm not quite sure how I could prove that it would work, except maybe if I can get wires that go in there, connect them to leads, put it onto a voltmeter, go back and forth with it and see if it makes a connection or not. That'd be the only way I could think of I could test it to work. That's if I want to do that, and I'm not sure I want to do that. All right, one copper bearing wire is loose, but this gauge is way too small to try to strip. Is it strippable? Yes, you can strip it, but it's very thin wire wound around each other, run around itself. And when you go to take a knife to it and strip it off, it'll come off like hair and it makes a mess. So it is strippable. Is it worth it? No, not to me. That board's free. Coming to this board, cutting these wires. These are what you call power boards. They're low grade boards. There's no higher value in them to sell, but to sell as a low grade board. You have mid-grade computer boards, high-grade computer boards, and low-grade boards. These are low-grade boards. All right, there's another copper-bearing wire with brass leads, prongs. This wire looks a little thicker. I might be able to get a knife to it and scrape that loose. Let's take this board here first. There is a copper spool. I want to take that off. These cylinders are aluminum, and if you take them off, they'd be considered aluminum, dirty aluminum in your recycling area. This item here is called a MOSFET, M-O-S-F-I-T, or MOSFET, M-O-S-F-A-T. It's copper. There's copper in it. So I'll take that off for copper recycling. This is an IC chip. That'll come off. This black three-pronged, shiny black, but three-pronged component is an IC chip, and it has gold bonding wires in it. That'll come off. As will this one. There's another IC chip here, a larger copper spool here, and this is a fuse, but I don't want it. This is a blue capacitor. That will come off. There are said to be silver inside those, and there are people on the internet that will buy large quantities of these, so I take them off boards and I store them up. On this power board, more of the same aluminum cylinders. Another blue capacitor. A big transformer, copper bearing transformer. Two other types of transformers. These are copper spools, so there's copper here. Very large. I'm going to still call it a capacitor, but very large, so I'll take that one off as well. And this is an aluminum heat sink. And the screw is on the other side. And the screw is on the other side behind this transformer, and it's holding in another MOSFET. And I am not going to be able to get my screwdriver to it. Here's another capacitor as well. Getting a scale out. Gloves are going to come off because nothing else is going to cut me that I know of. I'll be able to touch things, so it's still set to pounds. I'm going to weigh up the heavy stuff first to get that out of the way, and then I'm going to reduce the weightage, the measuring to ounces or grams. So the battery weighs 4.76 pounds, and I believe this entire contraption started off with 6.9 pounds, 6.8 pounds is what it was. So the battery took up the most weightage. I will get money for it. I can do with that. So that's what that'll go. Let's change this to ounces for low grade boards. I have 3.8 ounces. I get 3 or 4 cents to the pound for low grade boards. That's not worth this. These are not where the money is. But I have a whole box of these, so I'll get some money from them when I can find them in the box. All the copper bearing items are going to yield 3.1 ounces. Copper goes $3.30 a pound, 16 ounces in a pound. But keep in mind, a lot of these have the iron ferrite on them, so 3.1 ounces together. Take the iron off, you can subtract at least 2.5 ounces for the iron, so I'll probably be left with only 0.6 or 0.5 ounces of copper. But I have bags and bags of copper. I've been doing this for several years. I've never sold my copper. I'm keeping a hoard of copper. I've got bags and bags of copper. So that'll just go into the hoard. Copper insulated wire with brass. I will probably end up taking this apart because I also have bags and actually canisters of brass. I'm not sure if this is on camera or not, so I'll get it out for you. But this has a variety of brass, dirty brass and clean brass. One day I will take all this out, separate it out, and we will go through it to see which is which. There are still items in here that need to have the brass taken out of them. So that's where the brass will go. So insulated copper wire with the brass still on it. Weighs up to, and I'll take the leads. That's a rubber band. Computer wires. That's trash. Okay, that weighs up to 6.6 ounces. Capacitors. Those weigh up to 0.2 ounces. The MOSFETs, they don't weigh at all. Going down to the grams, 6 grams. There is copper in there, so that'll go as copper. These two items came off the aluminum sheet. They're not going to weigh anything, not even a gram. Not worried about it. It goes into steel anyway. That's just trash. IC chips. Two grams. Not much there, but I have a container to put IC chips in as well. Aluminum, pure aluminum sheet. I will have to take off this glue. Okay, that's been cleaned off. It's now what we call clean aluminum. And there is 17 grams of aluminum. Switch that back to ounces. 0.6 ounces of aluminum. I have a large bucket of aluminum, so that's where that'll go. Okay, that was a Belkin backup battery supply. Took you through the entire system breakdown, each individual parts and what you can get out of it. Most of the parts that were broken down will be going into other buckets that I have. I will make the money out of all the parts coming together, so I can't realize whether I'm getting my $6 back that I paid for that item. But what it gave me, and what it gave you, was insight into what's inside it, what pieces of value you can get from it,